Shakyamuni Buddha. Welcome everyone to our delayed Sunday service. I do apologize about some of the delays and cancellations recently. We've had some maintenance issues and then just manpower issues. Since there's only a few of us here that can handle a few things, or handle the things, we've had to move things around. So I apologize for any inconvenience there. So for today, I will be speaking on Vipassana meditation, which is what I was going to speak on yesterday for our meditation class. So I thought I would just switch it over to today's topic of discussion. So with that said, that means we will just go ahead with the discussion without the meditation together. And after the Dharma talk, we will go into chanting. So before I begin, please join me in invoking our teacher's name 3 times. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So usually for my meditation classes, in-person meditation class, I typically give out notes to whomever attends, and then I'll upload those notes later on. So today I have some of those slides that I've created, so I feel like I'm back in college showing some slides. But as I mentioned, today's topic is on Vipassana meditation. So Vipassana meditation is one of 2 of the main types of meditation in Buddhist meditation. The other is samatha, so samatha and vipassana. So samatha is what we've been working on through our meditation classes pretty much all the way up until today, with some hints of vipassana in there as well. So the whole point of the meditation class, or the classes that I've been teaching, is to give you an array of different techniques and methods of meditation, because there's not just one specific type of meditation that's like the right one or the correct one. There's many different forms of meditation. There's different techniques and methods you can use, as far as meditation objects, as far as methods of breathing or being mindful, etc. So I've given different types of meditation, different breathing techniques, different mindfulness trainings, different objects of meditation like chanting or walking or visualization. So all these methods are different. They all essentially give you the outcome that we need, which is concentration, which is the samatha form of meditation. I've included every once in a while here and there, mindfulness methods, right, which is mostly what Vipassana is. So I've included a little bit here and there, but I've never actually called it Vipassana or any type of Vipassana form, because I didn't want to introduce that to everyone yet. So today is the official introduction of the Vipassana meditation. And the reason I waited to introduce this, because we really have to establish a strong concentration meditation before we really move into the Vipassana, or insight, or mindfulness meditation, as it's also called, because we really have to have a strong concentration session or sessions of meditation before we can go into Vipassana. Only because with Vipassana, the main difference here is we don't necessarily have an object of meditation that we're focusing on, right? We're not counting our breath, we're not chanting or anything like that necessarily. You can, but really the object of Vipassana is a little bit different. So I'll introduce some of that here in a bit. So let me go ahead and actually just share my slide. So the first one here is just introducing to you what Vipassana is. So Vipassana here is just one of the most ancient forms of meditation, right? It was reintroduced by the Buddha, right? It was there before the Buddha taught it, right? Vipassana has always been around, but the Buddha had reintroduced it and brought it into, or taught it to his disciples. So again, it's really it's only a little bit different from what we've been doing as far as our meditation classes, right? But what it's really trying to do here is just give you a way of self-transformation through self-observation. So what that means is, instead of concentrating on our breath, instead of counting our breath or chanting, we're really just being observant of our own body and our surroundings, but mostly just our body. So it's bringing, like as it's written here, it's bringing awareness and mindfulness to the sensations of the body and the mind, and seeing things as they are. So throughout the meditation courses or classes, or even during the services, I've always mentioned that while we're meditating, if we're counting our breath, or if we are doing any other form of meditation, if for any reason we've had a distraction or wandering thoughts come up, right, to give it a quick label, right? So if you hear a sound outside, you say sound. If you're a dog, you say dog. If you're hungry, just say hunger, right? Whatever it is that comes up, whatever it is that you hear or smell or taste or feel, you just give it a quick one-word label and then kind of move on and go back to your object of meditation. So in Vipassana, that is the whole form, is to observe our body as we're meditating. So essentially what we're trying to do here is we pick a point in our body to focus on. So typically it's also the breath, but not counting the breath necessarily or controlling the breath. So what we're really doing is just feeling the breathing as it's going in and out. As we're inhaling, exhaling, we're just feeling the breath. We're not counting it, we're not listening to it or anything like that. We are simply just feeling the sensations of air going in and out of our body. So we can either focus on our nostrils, right, just at the tip of our nose as the air goes in and out, so we can feel the air. Is it cold? Is it warm? Or any other sensation that you feel, is observing how your breathing is. Or you can concentrate on your abdomen, right? So we concentrate on our belly because as we breathe, our abdomen will extend out. So we can either say rising and falling, or in and out, or whatever other form you want to use, right? You can make those mental notations if you need to, but they are not necessary. What you're simply just trying to do here is just observe the movement and observe how the body is reacting to certain things. So as we move on, as we continue our meditation, we're pretty much just doing the same thing with labeling, right? So if we hear a sound, or if we feel something in our body, right? If we feel discomfort, if we are hungry, or whatever it may be, we are just simply observing those feelings and those reactions, right? And then, as mentioned, Vipassana is one of the two forms, right? So Vipassana, which is also called insight or mindfulness meditation, is a clear awareness of exactly what's going on during the present moment. So we're just being aware of our sensations, of our thoughts and feelings and reactions as they are happening without entertaining them, right? And then samatha, on the other hand, is just that one point in its concentration that we've been working toward for the whole duration of our meditation series thus far. So as we continue with Vipassana, as we continue with our meditation, or as we start with our meditation, I'm sorry. Again, there's no object of meditation, but we do have to be aware of where we're going to be concentrating for or during our meditation. So since we are concentrating primarily on our breathing, we just have to pick a place in our body where we want to focus on. So we can focus on our tips of the nose and try to feel the air as it goes in and out. We can focus on our abdomen. We can even focus on our throats or in our lungs as air comes in and out. So we have to pick a place where we want to focus on. What we typically want to do is pick something that is the strongest sensation to you. So as you're breathing, you can take a few deep breaths first, and then just take normal breaths, right? And trying to focus somewhere on your body. Focus on first at the tip of your nose. Is the sensation of air going in and out of your nose strong enough for you to maintain the focus and concentration on that area for the duration of the meditation? If it is, then great, we can stick with that. If it's not, then go pretty much down your body. So you can pick your throat next. You can, as you're breathing, can you feel the air go in and out of your throat or into your lungs? Is that strong enough? If it is, great. If not, pick somewhere else. So then we want to continue to our abdomen. As we're breathing, can we feel, is the sensation of breathing in our abdomen strong enough for you to concentrate on? If it is, great. So that's really what we're trying to do, is just find an area of our body that has strong enough sensations as we're breathing to focus on, to keep your focus. Because that will be the area where we're going to mostly or mainly concentrate on for the duration of the meditation. And then everything else is just going to be secondary. So all the labeling is going to be secondary. All the feelings and sensations, the thoughts, the discomforts you may have during sitting, all those are secondary, and those are what we're going to be labeling as we sit for our meditation. So the reason it's called insight meditation is because we're labeling. What we're trying to achieve during the meditation is really bring up the feelings or the thoughts or the ideas, and try to digest what they truly are, right? So if we are meditating and a thought of something arises that starts to get you angry or frustrated, right? We want to not necessarily think on it too much, right? But we just want to try to grab the first feeling that we're thinking that it makes us feel and label that, right? So sometimes something may cause us anger, but we don't necessarily think of it as anger right away, right? It could just be something that's annoying to us, right? But deep down it does get us a little bit angry because it may be happening very often, or maybe being caused by someone we care about. It could be our significant other, or our children, or coworkers, right? It can be something annoying, but because it happens so often, and it actually does cause anger, kind of in the back of our mind or deep down, right? So when something like that occurs, we are trying to pinpoint what the true actual feeling is, and then kind of bring that to our attention, because that's where we're trying to kind of dig from the thought process as these things are happening. So once it does happen, like just any other meditation, we don't want to entertain the thought. We don't want to dive into it and start daydreaming or fantasizing about what could or should be, right? We're simply just trying to grab the root feeling or the root cause of what's happening, and let's give that quick label. And we do that because as these things come up, right? So as something annoying to us comes up and we label it as anger, it may kind of give us that realization as, oh, that actually is frustrating to me, or that causes me anger, or it just causes jealousy, or causes anxiety, whatever it may be, right? We're trying to give it that quick label and really dissect what it is, so we can find the ultimate root cause of it. And from there, what we want to do is address the issue or the circumstance, or whatever it may be, or lessen what feeds the negative emotion or feeling, and try to essentially just root it out so it no longer gives us those feelings or those thoughts. So I'm going to give us our next slide here. So next, I've written down that Vipassana is a set of techniques in training your mind that's dedicated on being aware of your own life experiences. So it trains you to listen attentively, to see things with mindfulness, and even eat and work with care. So whenever, I'm going to give the example of a retreat. Whenever we have retreats here at the temple, we do things not very slowly, but with mindfulness, right? So we have noble silence during our lunch period. So when we're sitting for lunch, we're all completely silent. We don't speak, we don't talk to each other or anything like that. We do our meal prayer, and then we are completely silent until the end of the meal. And then typically after the meal, we have a lunch, a break, which we also stay silent, and we don't break the silence until our next meditation session or next Dharma session. So that gives us opportunity, and even when we're working or chanting or meditating or doing walking meditation, we're doing things with mindfulness. Because if we just kind of start doing things just randomly or on autopilot almost, things start becoming routine, and the day or the hours go by and we don't really notice it, right? We get here, our retreats typically start at 6 a.m. and they end at 6 p.m. So if we're doing the whole retreat without mindfulness, without really putting our present moment into the experiences that we're having, 6 p.m. can come around and the whole day has passed by, and we can ask ourselves, what just happened, or what have I even done, right? We miss those real experiences, those beneficial experiences that we could have had if we were being mindful. So we work with mindfulness. We work slowly, we eat slowly, we speak to each other slowly, and we enjoy the moments that we're having. We're enjoying the work that we're doing. We're enjoying the food that we're eating. Because if you're just kind of swallowing food all of a sudden, right, without really chewing or tasting, then you're not going to enjoy the taste of the food. You're not going to appreciate the food that was made for us, or be grateful to those that picked the food, that the people on the farm that picked the food, and the grocers that sold it to us, and the people that prepared it, right? So we do things slowly with mindfulness, so we can appreciate those things and appreciate everything that kind of had happened because we're being mindful and being aware of how the food kind of got into our bellies, right? So our next slide here is about the Anapanasati Sutta, which is a discourse on mindfulness of breathing. And this is the discourse that we chanted during our meditation retreat. The discourse gives us 16 exercises for mindfulness, or to be mindful as we are practicing meditation or Vipassana meditation. I've only included the first 4 exercises because they're short and they're pretty relevant. So the first exercise here says that breathing in a long breath, I know I am breathing in a long breath. Breathing out a long breath, I know I am breathing out a long breath. The second exercise says breathing in a short breath, I know I am breathing in a short breath. Breathing out a short breath, I know that I am breathing out a short breath. That's the first 2. And then the third and the fourth one here is breathing in, I'm aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I'm aware of my whole body. And the fourth exercise is breathing in, I calm my whole body, and breathing out, I calm my whole body. So, and exercises go on to similar to those, right? It kind of goes on, it gives us 16 exercises that we try to do. So, the point of Vipassana here is being aware of what is happening as it's happening. In the same time, not entertaining those thoughts, not entertaining the feelings that we're having and the emotions that's arising. We are just going about it as it happens, acknowledging as it happens or what is happening, and moving on and continuing back with our breathing. So at first, because the 16 exercises are pretty specific as to the sensations that we're having or the feelings that we're having, so I encourage everyone to look up the Anapanasati Sutta and go over those 16 exercises. That way, that'll give you an idea as to what to kind of focus on, right? So I've only included the 4 here because they are about breathing in and breathing out and then calming the body, which eventually happens naturally, right? Because we're talking, because we're walking around, or we're doing stuff, our breathing becomes unbalanced or unnatural. It only goes to its natural calming state when we have finally sat down and just breathe normally for a little bit of time, right? Which also only happens when we're sleeping. So the first 2 exercises about breathing in and breathing out, long or short. You're being aware that the breath is long or short, right? It starts with being long because as we sit down, as we stop moving, our body is trying to calm itself. So it takes in and out deeper breaths than normal. And then after a while, they can become short, subtle breaths, which is what will happen after about 10 or 15 minutes of sitting meditation. Your breath starts to slow down quite a bit. And then once it's slowed down, your body cools down, right? It becomes a little bit more calmer. It becomes easier to sit and to focus. So that's why I've only included the first 4, because those are typically what we're trying to achieve as we sit. But before the first 4, I at least encourage you to start a few sessions, or at least your first session, with just focusing on how your breathing comes in and out, as how you're exhaling and inhaling, and focusing either on your nose, your nostril, your throat, lungs, or on your abdomen. Then after a few sessions of doing that, then I would encourage you to kind of dive into the practices of the Anapanasati Sutra, and start with the first 4 at least, and kind of go down the line. Maybe, for one session you start with the first 4. For another session, you add 1 more or 2 more of the exercises of the 16 exercises, and kind of just go down the list as you continue on with your practice and with your sessions. Because eventually, at the end of the exercises, and what we're really trying to achieve during our meditation is calmness of mind and body, right? Because if you're not used to sitting down for meditation for long periods of time, you're going to start getting cramps, or your legs or feet are going to fall asleep, and you start feeling uncomfortable, right? And that is, that's a hindrance to our meditation, because because the intensity of the discomfort can get so strong that we end our session because we just can't take it anymore, right? But as we sit, as we kind of groom our bodies and get used to sitting, it'll start becoming easier and easier as we go on. And eventually, when we sit, even if our feet fall asleep, it won't necessarily distract us too much, because we'll get used to the tingling, we'll get used to some of the pain it causes. I always say strive through it and to just kind of suck it up and go, because you'll eventually start getting used to the pain, where it doesn't even faze you anymore. You don't even feel it happening or becoming discomforting anymore. So after a while, after we've kind of allowed our bodies to get used to sitting, our bodies have become used to and adjusted to sitting for long periods of time, our body will naturally have a calmness over it after a few minutes of meditating. So once our breath has become balanced and stable and calm, it'll start really slowing down. It'll start being very slow and very shallow. After typically about 30 or 45 minutes of meditation, your breath will become so subtle that it'll almost feel like you're not even breathing. And that's exactly what we want to get to, because that is pretty much the breathing goal during meditation. Because at that point is when our mind is finally also settled, or at least should be settled down a little bit. Because now our body's settled down, we have to make sure our mind is settled. And once our mind is settled, we can really start going into deeper forms of meditation, and where it's going to help us advance further. But I won't get too much into that yet. But I really just want to mostly just focus on what Vipassana is, because I know I've mentioned it here and there indirectly when I mentioned how to label things during our meditation. I also at least want to introduce a few of the Anapanasati exercises. So I've included the 4, and I'll include this on our website later on today. I'll upload the practices. I'll include the whole sutra for you, for everyone, because it is something that we chant. One of the only things we chant during our meditation retreats, and then our discourses or the discussions is typically on that sutra for most of the retreats, because they're very helpful exercises, and at least it gives you kind of an anchor or something to concentrate and focus on, and knowing exactly what we're trying to achieve, right? So for each practice or each session that you want to include an additional exercise, that'll pretty much be your goal as to what we're trying to achieve for that session. But I've at least only wanted to introduce the first 4 because they are typically the easiest to accomplish. Even if we are fairly new to meditation or don't meditate quite often, the first 4 at least are something that's doable, assuming we are concentrating hard enough with minimal distractions, or at least meditating for long enough. During our meditation retreats, we typically meditate for at least 45 minutes minimum for our sessions. Because really that's going to be the minimum amount of time for most people to really be able to settle into a position of meditation and to be able to calm their mind, at least for a few moments, and get an idea of some of the benefits of meditation and get an idea of what a calm and tranquil mind feels like, because it really does take at least 30-45 minutes for us to really get into the meditation zone mindset. So I won't speak too much further. I do have a part 2 for this where I'll go a little bit more into the actual practice of Vipassana, a little bit more guided as far as what to do during a Vipassana meditation session. So I just at least wanted to introduce it now so that we have an idea of what it is and what to expect. But ultimately, Vipassana is trying to see things as they truly are, right? We're trying to pinpoint the thoughts and the feelings that we're having by labeling, and trying to really get to the core root of what something is, right? So again, if we're going back to the emotion, if something arises that we're thinking of or a distraction kind of came up, we're just trying to find the root feeling or emotion that we're having towards it. Because again, if we feel a certain way, or if we tell ourselves that we feel a certain way about something or someone, and then it arises during meditation, and we give it a label of something else that we may have not thought about or really pay attention to, then it gives us an idea of, oh, maybe I feel differently towards this person or towards this situation, or maybe I don't feel as intensely about as I thought it was, or whatever it may be, right? It's really trying to get into the root cause of something. I also call this the why meditation, right? The why meditation, as I've described before, is taking something that you know is what's a nice word? you're taking something that you know you feel maybe negatively towards, right? Um, and that's going to be your object of meditation. And so what you're really just doing the whole time for meditation is you take that topic or that person or situation or whatever, and then you're only just going to be asking yourself why. So why do you feel this way, or why do you think this way, or see this person or see that this way? And you may come up with an answer, and then again you ask yourself why, and then you may answer it, and then you ask yourself why, and you continue to ask yourself why, until you're getting to the root cause of the problem or the situation, right? You're trying to find the root issue with it. That way, when you find the root issue, you can figure out a way to handle it, right? It's either something that you have to lessen out of your life, right? Take out slowly. It can be a person that you have to kind of distance yourself from, or place, or whatever it may be, right? We're essentially just trying to find what is the root problem or issue that we're having with something or someone that makes us feel discomfort or just negative or whatever it may be. And then once we have it, then we find a way to kind of essentially eradicate it from our life, or at least lessen it in some way, shape, or form. So Vipassana is a form of doing that, but without the constant thinking, right? We are just trying to we are just trying to give quick labels to things, right? Because that will train our minds to not start stories, or to stop entertaining our thoughts, right? Because what happens usually or typically is if we're sitting and we hear the door open or the dog barking or something, right? We're trying to meditate, then when we hear those sounds, we may naturally try to figure out who came through the door, who is it, why are they opening the door so loudly, or whatever, or who are the dogs barking at? Is it somebody walking? Is there someone at the door? Is whatever it is, right? We try to give stories to the things that we are experiencing. So Vipassana helps us avoid doing that. So instead of making up those stories, which may or may not be true, we're simply just giving them the label of sound, or door, or dog, or if you smell something, you can describe the smell. If you taste something, you can describe the taste with one or two words, right? And just kind of leave it be. And then doing that for a period of time, for a while, it's going to take a long while, it will help our minds lessen the distractions. It'll help ease the storytelling that our habit mind does for things. And that's really what we're trying to essentially do, because when I say Vipassana helps us see things as they truly are, means that when we hear a sound, it's just a sound. It's not somebody breaking in. I mean, it could be somebody breaking in, but we're not trying to give a story, right? Generally speaking, if we hear a sound, it's just a sound. It's just a noise. It's just a thump or whatever. It's not, plane crashing into the house or whatever. Maybe it's not somebody running around or whatever. We're not trying to give stories to things. We're not trying to entertain these thoughts and imagine things happening or not happening. So when something happens, we are just saying a sound, or door, or dog, or airplane, or clock, or whatever it may be, right? Or if you're feeling hungry, just say hunger. Or if you're thinking of food, just say food. Or thought, just say the word thought. So it's taking away the ability or the habit of our mind giving stories and entertaining those thoughts. Instead, we're just focusing on our meditation, and if something happens or occurs, then we're just giving it a quick label and moving on. Right? We're not making things up, and that's really what we mean by. That's what we mean when we say seeing things as they truly are. Is just calling it out as it is, without giving any extraness. So I will stop there, and then for our next meditation class, which hopefully will happen when it's supposed to happen. In a couple weeks, our meditation classes is still every second and fourth Saturday of the month. So our next meditation class is going to be in a couple weeks. So I will, for that class, I'll go into a little bit more specific details as to how to meditate for Vipassana. I may do a guided meditation for Vipassana as well. I don't typically like guided meditations, but I will meditate on it and see if I think it may be beneficial, or if it's more beneficial just to give you the instructions and have it do it on your own. So let me know also. Please do comment or send us a message or an email letting me know if a guided meditation would be helpful for you or not. That way I'll at least have an idea of what you want versus just what I want to do. So I will work on that for our next meditation class. So we won't do any meditation today since I'm incorporating my meditation class into this Sunday service. So we will just go into our general chanting. So if you have our chant book, feel free to open up to the first section, which is our general chanting. Or you can download our chants from our website as well, so that you can follow along. So please join me in invoking a teacher's name and transferring the merit. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. For any positive karmic action we've accumulated here today, we wish to transfer the merit to all sentient beings and wish them full enlightenment. Homage to the fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha Maitreya, honored future Buddha Manjushri, Bodhisattva, universal great Handan Bodhisattva, check out some Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Homage to Amitabha Buddha in the land of ultimate bliss, Avalokiteshvara, great compassion Bodhisattva, great strength Bodhisattva, first or great vow Bodhisattva, in the assembly of great pure sea-like Bodhisattvas. Great compassion march over the 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes, Dharani, and lungs like this. Namo Ratnatrayaya, Namo Aryahavalokiteshvaraya, Bodhisattvaya, Mahasattvaya, Mahakarunikaya, Humsavala, Sudana Sasya Namaskritvana, Manaryahavalokiteshvara, Nantabana Munilakan, Shami Sarvadata Shubham Ashiyam Sarva Sattva Namo Pastava Namo Bhagavato Taryata Om Bhavaloka Lokati Karati Shri Mahabodhisattva Sabo Sabo Mara Mara Mahim Vidhayo Goro Goro Gamyan Doro Ashyati Mahabashyati Dara Dara Diri Nishwaraya Mahaba Mara Murhelehi Shina Shina Hala Shinbala Sharin Sinbala Shaya Holo Holo Pra Holo Holo Shi Sara Sara Siri Siri Soro Soro Bodhaya 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 Maitreya Nila Kansadrisha Nina Maya Mani Swaha Setaya Swaha Maha Setaya Swaha Setaya Yeshwar Nilakante Swaha Pranila Swaha Shisemahokaya Swaha Sarva Mahasaya Swaha Chakrahas Apadmakashaya Swaha Nilakante Pantalaya Swaha Mofodi Shankaraya Swaha Namo Ratna Namo Aryahavalokiteshvaraya Swaha Hum Sedyanto Mandrapataya Swaha. The Dharma body is bringing morning light in concentration. My heart is at peace, a half smile is born on my lips. This is a new day, about to go through it in mindfulness. The sun of wisdom has risen, shining in every direction. Noble sun, gently bring your mind into meditation. Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya, Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya, Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya. The one who bows and the one who is bowed to are both by nature empty. Therefore the communication between them cutting through ignorance, awakening our hearts and our minds. Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of great understanding, to whom we bow in gratitude. Working mindfully, working joyfully for the sake of all beings, Samanta Bhadra, the Bodhisattva of great action, to whom we bow in gratitude. Responding to suffering, serving beings in countless ways, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of great compassion, to whom we bow in gratitude. Seed of awakening and loving kindness and children, sprouts and all beings, Maitreya, the Buddha, to be born, to whom we bow in gratitude. Showing the way fearlessly and compassionately, the stream of all our ancestral teachers, to whom we bow in gratitude. The Dharma is deep and lovely, we now have a chance to see it and practice it. We vow to realize its true meaning. The heart of the Prajnaparamita, the Bodhisattva Avalokita, while moving in the deep course of perfect understanding, shed light on the five skandhas and fully empty. After this penetration, he overcame ill-being. Listen, Shariputra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is not other than emptiness is not other than form. The same is true with feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Listen, Shariputra, emptiness, they are neither produced nor destroyed, neither defiled nor immaculate, neither increasing nor decreasing. Therefore, in emptiness, neither form nor feelings, no perceptions nor mental formations or consciousness, no eye or ear or nose or tongue or body or mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no mind, no realms of elements, no interdependent origins, and no extinction of them, no ill-being, no cause of ill-being, no end of ill-being, and no standing and no attainment, because there is no attainment. The Bodhisattvas, grounded in perfect understanding, find no obstacles. Having no obstacles, they overcome fear, liberating themselves forever from illusion and realizing perfect nirvana. All Buddhas, present and future, arrive at full right and universal enlightenment. Therefore, one should know that perfect understanding, the unequal mantra, the destroyer of ill-being, the incorruptible truth, the mantra of Prajnaparamita, should therefore be proclaimed. Gate, gate, para, gate, gate, bodhi, swaha, gate, gate, para, gate, para, sam, gate, bodhi, swaha, gate, gate, para, gate, para, sam, gate, bodhi, swaha. We invoke your name, Avalokiteshvara. We aspire to learn your way of listening in order to help relieve the suffering in the world. You know how to listen in order to understand. We invoke your name in order to practice listening. Attention and open-heartedness, we will sit and listen without any prejudice. We will sit and listen without judging or reacting. We will sit and listen in order to understand. Listen so attentively that we will be able to hear what the other person is saying and also what is being left unsaid. We know that just by listening deeply, alleviate a great deal of pain and suffering in the other person. We invoke your name, Manjushri. We aspire to learn your way, which is to be still and to look deeply into the heart of things and into the hearts of people. We will look with all our and open-heartedness. We will look with unprejudiced eyes. We will look without judging or reacting. We will look deeply so that we will be able to see and understand the roots of suffering, the impermanent and selfless nature of all that is. We will practice your way of using the sword of understanding to cut through the bonds of suffering, thus freeing ourselves and others. Peace. We invoke your name, Samantabhadra. We aspire to practice your vow, to act with the eyes and heart of compassion, to bring joy to one person in the morning and to ease the pain of one the afternoon. We know that the happiness of others is our own happiness, and we aspire to practice joy on the path of service. We know that every word, every look, action, and every smile can bring happiness to others. We know that if we practice wholeheartedly, we ourselves may become an inexhaustible source of peace and loved ones and for all species. We invoke your name, Shittigarbha. We aspire to learn your way of being present where there is darkness, suffering, oppression, and despair, so we can bring light, hope, relief, and liberation to those places. We are determined to forget about or abandon those in desperate situations. We will do our best to establish contact with those who cannot find a way, suffering those whose cries for help, justice, equality, and human rights are not being heard. We know that hell can be found in many places on do our best not to contribute to creating more hells on earth and to help transform the hells that already exist. We will practice in order to realize that perseverance and stability, so that like the earth we can always be supportive and faithful to those in need. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. Refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Dwelling in the refuge of Buddha, I clearly see the path of light and beauty in the world. Dwelling in the refuge of Dharma, learn to open many doors on the path of transformation. Dwelling in the refuge of Sangha, shining light that supports being my practice free of obstruction. Taking refuge in the Buddha, in myself, I aspire to help all people recognize their own awakened nature, realize lines of love. Taking refuge in the Dharma, in myself, I aspire to help all people fully master ways of practice and walk together on the path of liberation. Taking refuge in the sun, myself, I aspire to help all people, fourfold communities, to embrace all beings and support their transformation. Reciting the sutras, practicing the way of awareness gives rise to benefits without limits. We vow to with all beings. We vow to offer tribute to parents, friends, and numerous beings.